Okay, while we're getting started talking, if you don't have something to write with, get something out, because you're probably going to want to write some categories down. All right, we're going to get going. Okay, so this is called Networking 102, and what we're assuming is that you already understand Networking 101. That's been the talk that we've given the last few years, and that talk talks about the importance of networking for your career, and it also talks about how women don't network. So we're assuming that you know that networking is critical, and that you know that women don't network very well and don't have vast networks. We have nothing to disclose.
So I just kind of want to first start off by kind of going through some networking myths, so things that just are not true. Some may say that networking is fake, it's insincere. Some may say it's for extroverts, meaning if you're an introvert, it's not for you. Some say it's only for people in leadership. So if you're going into private practice, why do I need to bother with networking? Some may also say it's about increasing your number of contacts. And then some also say that it's just something you do in your spare time. So at the end of your job, it's, do I still have that extra time to fit this in?
All right, so a lot of people think that, you know, because of these myths that they're not networking. And actually, every single one of you in this room networks all the time. And the words that you use for a network might be very different. You might call them your community, your people, or whatever. But the fact is that you're networking every single day. In your personal life, you are finding out, where do I go to the doctor? Where do I get a massage? Where do I do my brand maintenance, meaning where do I get my hair cut? Where do I, you know, where do I shop? All of these things. Who's your financial planner? Where do you bank? That's networking. That's creating a community. And in your work and in your career, there are actually 3 types of things that you're doing that you may not be calling a network, but they really are. So your developmental network is your mentors, people that are helping you to get, giving you advice on your career and your work. And so what we say in our mentorship committee is that you don't need a mentor, you need a network, because that's really what you're doing. Also, there's an organizational network. Everybody has done this before. You have created an organizational network. People in an organizational network know where and how to get things done. So there's someone in your medical school or your workplace who you go to, or you say, well, how do I find out about X? Who do I ask to get this done? And someone will say, oh, it's Sherry, she knows everything. And so those are the people that you need in your organizational network, and you are doing that. You know who this person is right now, probably. You're probably thinking of this person or these people in your environment who you go to get things done. And then there's your strategic network. Sometimes people don't spend as much time on their strategic network, but these are people that are helping you look to the future and can talk to you about what planning for the future, and then also steps to take to get to the future. So you want to make your network personal. You're really building relationships. That's what networking is all about. And these are the areas that I want you to write down quickly, because we only have a few minutes, that you want to map your network to. So there's some articles at the end of this talk that I really encourage you to read. You can read them today. They're short and sweet, and they're going to talk about network mapping. When I read that, I pictured this neural network for some reason in my mind, and it baffled me. I did not understand what they were talking about. But this is kind of a map. I want you to map people as you're sitting here listening to us when we talk about each of these areas to each of these networks. Think about who you can put in these categories, and also who can put you in these categories, because networking is a relationship, and relationships aren't one-sided, they're two-sided. So who could say that you're in their essential support system or their advisory board? And then think about where you need to build these relationships. When I first did this, I thought, oh my God, I have nothing. But if you sit and think about it a little bit more over the weekend, you'll realize that you probably have a lot of people in these areas.
So the first category, think of 1 to 2 people that you consider essential support. So these are the people that would drop everything for you, no matter what. You call them any time of day. The important thing to think about with these people is they're not necessarily the people that you would go to for advice, though, because they're not objective. They have your back, and they're on your side. And then also, conversely, who can call you for anything? So if you guys just jot those down and think about it.
And who would you drop everything for? So your advisory board, this is a group of people, 4 to 8 people maybe. They're people you respect. They're going to give you honest and objective advice. And you want to think back to those kind of 3 career categories of types of networks: your developmental network, your operational, your relationship network, and your strategic network or your directional network. And you want to have people on your advisory board from each of these areas. And also, when you're thinking about how would I create this advisory board, it helps to think about who would call on you for advice. And how did that relationship come to be? And you can mimic that and see that it isn't something that is artificial and fake, because you've probably done it already. And think about, with whom did you have the last really meaningful conversation with? And how did you come to meet that person? How did that relationship develop? And what can you do to continue that relationship and make it better? And who is currently on your advisory board, and what gaps do you need to fill? Set a goal and make a plan to do that. If you're not looking for it, you won't see it. So if you're sitting here thinking at this meeting, you know, I really don't have anybody who I could turn to for, you know, career advice or post-residency advice or whatever, or my next step advice, I really need that. And keep that in mind while you're meeting people here at this meeting, and you, in a conversation, will realize, I'm looking for this. I really need to connect with this person, and it'll provide a non-artificial way to start a relationship with someone. Your common values or your connectors. This group of people is about 15 people. You share common values. You could mobilize these people when necessary to affect some kind of change. These people can also make connections and introductions to other people for you. You can create ideas with these people, and these are people you can collaborate with. Places where you can create these kind of relationships are going to be on committees. So one of the reasons to join committees or to sign up for projects is to make these connections with people. This is how you create these relationships with people. You meet these people doing things that you are passionate about, and then you'll meet other people who are passionate about the same thing, which makes it very important to really understand what it is that you're passionate about, because you're going to show up with your best face and your best energy, and you're really going to impress people that way, and you're going to make meaningful relationships. So think about, when was the last time you were called on to brainstorm? And also, when was the last time you connected to people, and how did you come to know the people involved in that situation? Your supportive vote part of your network map is big. It's 20 to 30 people. It could even be more depending on what you're doing. But these are people who you've worked with and kind of generally know you. Maybe you see them at a meeting once or twice a year. You're kind of involved in similar things. They could speak highly of you or would recommend you if you asked them to. But you're not tending a lot to this relationship. Maybe you see them every once in a while. And so all the time when you're out, when you're at a meeting, you know, someone told me one time you should always have on your best hat. And so I ask you to think about, what is your brand? And when you're out and you're interacting with people, you want to be thinking about your brand, because you're creating this network kind of all the time, or you can be. And so you should be thinking about that. How you solidify this type of support is in ways that seem genuine to you. I think coming to meetings and meeting people over and over, and then kind of remembering them and shooting them an email or whatever, but there's a lot of ways where you can kind of solidify these relationships. And being a part of national meetings is definitely one of those ways, and serving on committees is certainly one of those ways. And again, think about why it's so important to be value-driven when you're choosing committee work or projects, because you're going to show up with your best brand when you do that. So things we hate about networking.
So we said it was insincere.
But really, hopefully you understand that networking is about giving and receiving genuine care and support. It's about building relationships.
Networking is for extroverts.
Networking is for everyone. We all create networks every day. Every single person in this room creates networks. You've all done this work before, and it's absolutely for everybody.
It's only for people in leadership.
Networking is really part of successfully navigating any career or any kind of work environment. It's building social capital. And you did that in high school, or maybe you didn't, I didn't. But there are people in high school that, you know, that guy, you go somewhere and everybody knows this, oh, hey, and you're like, gosh, you know people everywhere. That's Teresa, she knows everybody everywhere. So, you know, if you want to know how to do it, she's your gal. All right.
It's about increasing your number of contacts.
Absolutely not. It's about increasing the number of meaningful relationships that you have.
And it's something you do in your spare time.
You are always networking, and we would like you to do it with intention. So I just wanted to give a quick plug. So I met a wonderful person through C Sweetener, and C Sweetener, we have a person here from C Sweetener back there in the back, and this is a product, if you will, where you sign up, you pay a fee, you sign up, you get credits, and you have access to this tremendous list of really amazing high-power people who offer their time, and you can have meetings with them over a web-based platform. And I met someone who is, through C Sweetener, who is the big executive something, and does a lot of leadership development. And he actually gave me the idea for this talk and really challenged me to think of my network in this way. And so I'm able to bring it to you. And so I really want to thank them, C Sweetener, also for kind of providing this networking platform for aspiring women leaders. And it's for women, their whole idea is to get more women into the C-suite or into leadership in medicine. And it's a phenomenal product, and I highly encourage, if you're interested in leadership, to sign up for it. Not a platform necessarily for students at this point, but something to keep in mind for the future. So I just want to give a plug for them, because I think what they're doing is really great work. And there's our little rep back there. Thank you for coming. All right, these are the articles that I said I was gonna mention to you. Also go to the Center for Creative Leadership. That's where I met Doug. He's involved with the Center for Creative Leadership. It's a tremendous resource. They have free podcasts and articles and online classes that you can sign up for. And then also some articles that I got super quick, free. Go online, Google these 2 articles, and you can read them like in a few minutes. Thank you.